I can add on to that because I bought a house also in Malaysia, right? And
Suddenly everybody when I talk to about
Suddenly you realize everybody has a Malaysian
every
portfolio,
time I talk to someone about the topic,
Yeah.
then they talk, at first never say. 1 hour in, then I was like, oh yeah, actually right, I bought a property there also. Welcome back to the Find Your Place podcast. I'm your host, Reggie, aka Your Chief Financial Coconut.
hey, Justin here from Orange Tea and Thai.
And today we have a great guest. Yes.
This is Loo, okay? I'm from the 1865 movement and happy to see everybody. Happy to see you guys. Thanks for
Thank you.
inviting.
Yeah. Is it still 1M65? I thought the other time you were saying 4M65 already.
Doesn't matter.
So
It's a
it's the
label.
brand already,
It's a brand
right?
already.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. It is what it is already, right?
It's just a Coke, right?
Yeah.
Now got Coke Light, Coke Zero, Super Coke, whatever. Now it's still Coke.
Yeah. Fair. But today we're not here to talk about 1M65, okay? Yeah, because we are more interested in your life in Johor, right?
Which I
Yeah.
just came from.
Yeah. Exactly.
I
from the
shone all the
oven.
way down from JB just to make sure.
Wow,
I
thank
attend
you
this.
so
Okay.
much. Yeah.
Was it smooth?
Oh yeah, I'd be surprised. My way from Singapore to JB, this is school holidays. This is 1 week school holidays. We expect it super jam.
That's right.
Nothing.
You causeway? You're talking about causeway.
Clear both ways. Yeah. In smooth, out smooth. So it's a matter of timing.
Timing lah, yeah.
Timing. Yeah. Catch the wrong time, you're dead.
Yeah.
But just catch off-peak hours.
I mean, eventually, if you choose to live there, you will know the cadence, right? You will know how to do it.
What is a good time?
Yeah, what is a good time to come in and out and all that.
Exactly.
Okay, fair. Yeah, so today we want to talk more about that and also at the same time kind of lay out for our audience like what to look out for, when you're exploring a Malaysian property market, specifically Johor lah, right? Because Malaysia is big, not like Singapore, yeah. So I think that's kind of the whole discussion of where we're trying
Happy
to go
to share
today.
Yeah.
So
got some experience in it.
yeah, exactly, right? So we got the expert view and we got a personal view, right? So maybe for a start, how about lay down for our audience, why are you there? What is the thought process and all that jazz?
Okay, so my experience is more at a personal level. I visited a relative during Chinese New Year. They invited us there, so we go there in a posh looking, in a posh looking environment.
Was the relative also from Singapore?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Singaporean.
they also went
Singaporean.
there already.
Yeah,
Okay.
they are more or less, in that sense, more because there's business there. They stayed there, so I was invited there. I was very honored, and it's
GCB.
three-story, near GCB style, semi-D or bungalow. I can't remember, and things like that. Go in. And I was like, the car parked in front, you can park, 6 cars or something like that, And we're just touring the house, and I was just like...
I love how you can tour the house.
Tour, because you can get lost in the house.
Yeah.
You can
You need
get
to
lost
get
in
like
the
a
house.
museum. You need to put on those headphones with the yeah.
So, so I was went in and I was invited even to stay over at their house. And their bedroom for one of their guest room is bigger than my HDB living room, that kind of thing. It was like, wow, this is like, So it's not very polite, but I did ask the question, right? Which Singaporeans always love to ask.
How much? Yeah.
They say, wow, this one expensive. 2 million. I said, wow, 2 million Sing. Tough. No, 2 million ringgit. Then I was like, imagine, have you ever seen those kind of video where suddenly formulas start coming out? Tung, 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 the kind of formulas start coming out. And I was like, then look at my wife, look at me, straight away, telepathy, ESP, whatever, we both of us like, 2 million ringgit. Okay. Then of course, you cannot be too...
Of course.
Yeah, 下水, right? Then after we, disengage the conversation, 2 million ringgit. Okay. We calculated, okay, maybe I don't need such a big house, okay? Because I did see smaller ones. Yeah, 2 million ringgit. And then I quickly asked around, check Property Guru and all this kind of thing, right? And found that there are 1 million ringgit houses also. Right? Then I was like, wow, this could be, it could be something.
And that was what opened Pandora's box for you.
Exactly. Then we said, okay, let's check it out, right? So I was then looking for it, and guess what? Something about it is that once you have this idea, okay, and you realize that your Singapore dollar can stretch a lot,
Yes.
you really want to stretch it. So I was looking at the $1 million, $1 million semi-Ds and terraces, and I was like, it's all very nice. It's just like, $1 million, Sapa Ching, 300,000 Sing, I can stretch a little bit more, then that $2 million house, maybe we didn't reach. Maybe we didn't reach, right? So I said, okay, I tell you what, okay, we'll look for the 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, and then we crowdsource opinion and things like that, right? So we hit the limit of our budget can stretch, and to a lower limit, set this and just say, what can I, and then put it up for people to vote.
That's a content idea. Yeah.
Of course, everybody vote for the big one, right? And the worst part is the wife fell in love with the big one. It's very difficult to fight your wife in this kind of thing, right? I said, why do you consider this one, And then as we try to squeeze in a little bit more, then the house starts just gravitating towards this one, and in the end, I land back to the $2 million house, So it's my 2 million ringgit, okay? So I was just calculating 2 million ringgit, okay, in a super prime JB estate. The equivalent would be maybe a 6th Avenue equivalent or a Holland V equivalent. Cannot get me a 4-room flat resale in Singapore. That's very sad, right? That's very sad, right? So there, you really get the most atas of the atas. Here, I cannot, with the same amount, I cannot get a 4-room flat resale. Yeah, okay. So it's like a...
Then it becomes like,
it's all about context, right?
Yeah.
Then you just
say yes.
You just do it lah. Yeah.
Slip in and the rest are history.
Fair. So from maybe just to give our other audience a bit more color, right? So that's the price of the do you call it GCB?
No lah, it's a semi-D. It's a semi-D in a garden and gated community, and I'm quite open about it. It's a place called Austin Heights. Okay, Austin Heights is quite a nice place. May not be the best place, not where
Austin got a lot of local.
Yeah, okay, and it's a very crowded place. I like people. I like crowded environments. Atas. So young people hang around. The equivalent would be like Holland V. Really, it's a Holland V, Clarke equivalent kind of environment. Very hippie.
The university is there, so there's all those stuff there.
Yeah, a lot of schools there and things like that. So I'm sure I can half the budget and still get a very nice place. So there are a few draws, right? One of it is, of course, the location. Let's say family, relatives there. So that part, you cannot put $1 to it, right? Like it can be just maybe 500 meters away and don't feel the same, right? When the family is there, community is there, back to those days like kampong kind of feeling, right? We don't have that anymore in Singapore. I don't know my neighbor's family, what they do or whatever. But now, here in the environment, it's a very Malaysian thing. I walk around the estate, people start opening the door and just say hi to you and ask you where you're from, that kind of thing, right? I was like, that's not very normal. Yeah, yeah.
So do you pay like full cash for it, or like do you manage to get a mortgage, or what's the kind of permutation you want?
So in my case, okay, we thought about it, and then we said, at our age, we don't want to have any overhang of some loans and things like that, and we decided to pay it up in full. Okay, the key thing is we structure a budget to know where is the limit we can stretch without feeling stretchy. Right. So this is far no further, right? So with that, that's it, right? Of course, if you have 5 million ringgit, they are, 3-story, triple the size, whatever. I'm sure that, yeah. But at the end of it, I think we need to right size the amount. The house is already, in my opinion, on the edge of too big already. Yeah. No, I'm not trying to flaunt. I keep saying, I mean, emphasize this, okay? This is not a Howlian session. Many Singaporeans can do what I do, whether they want or not, it's out there. With the same budget, I cannot afford a 4-room flat in Singapore. That's the key thing, okay? Yeah.
No, and I think for a lot of Singaporeans, if you're not used to living in a big house, right, then you will struggle living in a big house, right? It's not a Howlian. It's just a lot of problems. Last time when I was a kid, right, I will go to my friend's house, and then at level 3, and then he will call the mom, hey, can you bring the thing up? Then I was like, hey, why call? Just go down lah. But now that I live in a 3-story house, right, it's like every level must put the socks. Every level got water bottle.
A fridge on every floor as well?
Yeah. Every floor is a fridge, because it's just crazy going up and down, right? So these are some living permutations that I think, it's not a Singapore, Malaysia thing. It's just if you're not used to living in a bigger place, there are some problems, and it's not the best. It's not nice, having to kind of move up and down and all that.
And I suppose at some point of time when you grow too old, you don't want to have upstairs, downstairs. You will climb stairs and things like that. In my current flat right now, we have a 2-story masonette. My dad will stay downstairs. My dad is 85. He said, he used to stay upstairs. He says, once I come downstairs, I don't feel like going up until the end of the day. Right? Then we clear up the study room into a nice bedroom for him. He feels very happy, right? So, you're right? Life have to make some adjustments.
Different seasons, right? Along the way.
Said, different seasons, yeah.
Look, I might jump in. So, of course, for you were coming in from the context of, wow, my money can stretch so far in this space. But beyond that own utility thing, you as an investment person as well, what were some of the investment considerations that you also put in place, aside from not wanting to stretch too much and all that? I mean, were you not worried about currency depreciation? Malaysian properties, also are not known to be the most reputable in the world, to be the best investment, stuff like that. So was that also at the back of your mind while going through this process?
So that's a very good, very, very good question. I get asked this question 50,000 times. From the start, I was very, very clear. Okay, this house will not be an investment asset.
So you're very clear in your mind from
this
the start.
This is a complete purchase and write off, right? So I tell everybody that, in most cases, and this is my view, you will not make a single cent from Malaysian property as a Singaporean, okay? And the most important reason is that the Sing dollar is just too powerful, and the Sing dollar appreciates tremendously. We do have an uplift recently from the ringgit. I was just lucky. I bought it when it was about 350 to 1 Sing dollar, 350 ringgit, 1 Sing dollar. It's just lucky, not that I time it. I don't know how to time ringgit. And now it's, 330 something, But most of cases, the ringgit just go, slowly down and down and down. So I would seriously tell everybody that if you want to buy a Malaysia house, enjoy it as a holiday house, retirement house, but not for investment.
Not as an investment.
You will not get a return from it, whether from a rental perspective or from an appreciation perspective from the Sing dollar form of calculation, right? You will not get, right? So once you are very clear that you buy this just like you buy a Toyota Corolla, more like you buy a Prada bag, you just buy and forget. You not get a single cent of return out of it. Then it's very easy already, right? So it's just minimize, set a budget, minimize that you can write off. Okay, not everybody can write off, but try not to overstretch yourself. It's up to a limit and just then forget it. Then you never think about it, right? So I have no consideration of ever need to sell that house for a capital gain. Need to rent it out, right? And very clear to me, if there's going to be a gain, it'll be me, for example, moving to Malaysia and renting out my Singapore flat or something like that. Then you can make some money from there. But so that is taking advantage of that one. Okay, that
and
one
leveraging on the monetizing Singapore.
Yeah, but Malaysia itself, I think for most Singaporeans is a tall order.
Okay, fair. So that is the conclusion, right? But the thought process there, what have you calculated? What is the kind of average yield? Or you can also chime in based on what you see out there in the market today, such that you conclude that, okay, this one, forget it.
I'll be frank with you, the capital appreciation is there. Okay? From a ringgit perspective. The rental return, I don't know. I mean, I hear say, but you're an expert. Please tell me, 4 to 5%. If you're lucky, it's not bad. But somehow, the minute you convert to Singapore dollar, tak boleh jalan lah. You just cannot make it lah. It's so. Then the best thing to do is don't give yourself this pressure or worry. Just make sure you get it for the right objective. Then you never think of that. It's not S&P 500, it's not OCBC, it's not UOB, it's not Microsoft, it's not Facebook, right? And it's not a condominium. The thing about all this, right?
Yeah, it's Austin Heights.
Yeah, it's just a Malaysia. It's literally like a Michael Kors bag that you buy. It's or a Levi's
for
jeans you buy. For you to use,
your collection,
get utility out of it, and don't even think of next time how much I need to sell my Levi's jeans for.
So what do you observe then in the JB problems? JB, we just focus on JB today.
Sure. Yeah. Yields become a bit difficult, especially if you're buying condos, because you're talking about landed, right? Landed is predominantly where the locals also choose to stay and to buy. Condos is a very different proposition altogether. And when most Singaporeans go in, they go into the premise that I want to buy a condo. Firstly, because the price point is lower. Secondly is, of course, we talk about security. A lot of people worry about buying landed when it is a non-gated estate. You leave the house there, you want to go and use it as a weekend house. The next weekend you go there, your furniture inside maybe you have a bare house already, right? Stuff like that. So I think a lot of people go into the context of investing in condos because, again, coming from Singapore, where majority of us stay in flats or condos, it's very naturally inclined for us to go there and look at condos, right? So we won't look at landed. So when you look at condos, then it's a very different proposition because firstly, the locals in Malaysia, especially in Johor, most of them still look at landed. So the secondary market for condos may not be as robust as landed.
It's all the out-of-state people.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's number one, right? Then number two is also the supply situation, right? I mean, you look at all the biggest projects that are being launched there are all, of course, mainly condos. And not necessarily by local developers also. There are developers from other countries that also go in to build.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
They're
I
also
mean-
by other developers,
Oh, yes.
other countries.
Of course. They also invest in Malaysia.
Mainly the Chinese?
Chinese as well. Yeah, you've got quite a few nationalities, right? I mean, Malaysia just, of course, is very appreciative of foreign direct investment, right? And of course, real estate development is one of the best games to play. And of course, when they build there, it's not like for us here, we have so much governance, like URA controlling how much GLS sites we release, right? So they just, for them, if they think they want to build something beautiful there, they build something beautiful there. Then tomorrow, another person wants to build something beautiful there. So the supply is not regulated lah. So that's why that becomes a bit of an issue from a resale standpoint, right? Whereas landed, for your case, different. Because anytime you want to sell, the locals there don't mind absorbing because they appreciate it. Yeah, so condos, I think, of course, the resale part becomes a little bit tricky lah. Especially when Johor is also such a large state. You've got so much land there, right? If this project doesn't do well, they just simply need to buy next door and build another better one. Then that is forgone and forgotten. But so what residual value is left after that? Right, so the condo game, I think, is of course always a little bit riskier lah. But having said that, of course, condo, if you liken it to buying, say, in Singapore, you probably want to buy it in the better locations near the Pusat Bandaraya, the main township where the banks are, the so-called, at least the local economy is lah. So in any case, there are jobs there. Jobs, that means you can possibly rent out to some people who actually might be working there. Right? But then having said that also, that means you're renting to the local population who may be from KL or maybe from Muar, Segamat, they come to Johor for
Malacca,
a job,
those side,
that kind of thing, right?
KL
So-
people don't go Johor for work.
Very unlikely
Very
lah.
unlikely. KL people will come to Singapore if they want to.
Yeah.
They'll make the
But then
money.
because they are also local, I don't want to call them expats lah. They are local workers. They are based on their income level. So there's only a certain limit to how much they are able to pay for the apartment, right? So you might be buying it from the context of a Singaporean price, like, wow, this is
Nothing.
1 million ringgit is like, oh my goodness, is the price of my Toyota,
Yeah.
But this Toyota can yield me something, right? It's not a 10-year straight line depreciation. This one actually is still a physical asset. So they go on that premise, but 1 million ringgit is actually off the median price of actually quite a lot of local properties, right? And then you take it back again to that rental market, who may be lucky able to pay you 1,000 ringgit a month. Yeah, so if you're lucky lah, so 1,000 ringgit, you capitalize it on a 1 million ringgit property, your yield is actually not very impressive lah. Yeah, so that's why even from a yield perspective, of course, it's not there. Of course, a lot of people are now going in. I mean, we get that sense also. That's why we're talking about this topic today, because we also have Johor properties, and recently the uptake and the inquiries and the demand is very strong.
From
From
Singaporeans.
Singaporeans.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure you also feel that.
You led the wave lah.
Yeah.
I'm sure lah. You keep
Too
posting
many
video
people watch
about
your
it.
videos
Then
lah,
all the
that's why.
inspiration come. Right? And all your kawan all Austin
I'm
Heights.
just at the front of the queue. I did not pull the whole queue, okay? I always get this accusation. Yes, I'm in the front of the queue, okay? But I could have no power to create the whole queue behind, okay? Yeah. You'll see me a bit too up. Yeah.
Oh yeah, next time I visit you at Austin.
Yeah, that's how influential you are. lah. Yeah.
Maybe I add on a few comments,
Please,
if you don't
yes,
mind,
yeah.
from
Yes,
observation.
Yes.
So I've been, clearly a lot of people write to me, to ask about all this, given I make those decisions. And I think there's a few very important things we need to take note of that are very recent in development. Number one is that there is a fierce inflation in Johor Bahru. It's across Malaysia as well, okay? But in Johor Bahru, I would say half of it is caused by Singaporean. Because Singapore has a big inflation, they all become economic refugee. Okay, let's humble ourselves. Don't see ourselves too up. Okay, we become economic refugee to escape the inflation fire. We go in
So
and
then
just
we put the pressure on.
just wipe out some of their toilet papers, their tissue paper, and all stuff. We just get their petrol, whatever reason is. We buy a lot of things there, and that's lifted up the economy a bit as well. Of course, there are imported inflation as well from global as well. And property prices has been a recipient of this inflationary fire as well. So I've been speaking to a lot of locals. I now mix with a lot of local friends and things like that. It is increasingly more painful as well for the locals to buy landed property. Even those. So landed property, I think there are largely two types. One is garden and gated, and one is not garden and gated. We all foreigners, we cannot live without the garden and gated. It's very uncomfortable. Okay, but the locals will buy the non-garden and gated, which is a lot cheaper. But even those have gone up in value. There is a new trend that's coming out right now that the locals are increasingly becoming more acceptable to condominiums.
Is it because of price point?
It's a bo-pian situation, no choice, right? Because the landed properties have gone up,
Which is what
so
we
much.
experience in Singapore.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same thing, yeah.
So you bo-pian. If everything has gone up, you cannot eat. You cannot eat atas food. You go to the hawker center, eat. It's the same for property. So increasingly, more and more locals are beginning to accept condominiums. And the condominium prices are going up as well, fierce. Okay. The second very important turnaround, okay, is that there is an RTS link now being built. There's a lot of skepticism when it first conceptualized. Even while the pillars are being built across the coast,
Still
people
the
say
skeptics were there, yeah.
will never build a
So
top
cynical,
whatsoever.
yeah.
It's I think the skepticism is largely towards the and it's understandable because the political environment then in Malaysia was very fluid. Okay. And of course, Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim is an amazing Prime Minister, and and clearly he's put a lot of stability in some of these things. So we now see that thing now being connected now. The top layer for the train is now there, and then the Bukit Changga, if I pronounce it correctly, those stations are being built and the Woodlands are being built. So everything is coming past. So the Singaporeans all saw that now and realized that, hey, it's getting real now, okay? And historically, if you look at two countries where now they have an ease of connectivity, then of course there'll be a massive migration of the population from the more expensive one to the cheaper ones, okay? And we're seeing that right now. That happens between Denmark and Sweden. That happens between Milan and Switzerland, okay? Milan and Lugano, which is part of Switzerland. That happens between Shenzhen and Hong Kong, okay? That's happening right now. So we see now a massive outpour of interest with Singaporean buyers in Malaysia. I get every 1 or 2 days, I get an email message on this topic and things like that, And people ask me, can you please introduce your real estate agent? What do you think of this place? Introduce me a lawyer, introduce me a renovator, okay? And it's very, very rudimentary, but it shows demand, okay? I think the third thing is that don't forget we have a huge population of Johorians working in Singapore, okay? And the inflationary fire here is mad. They used to be able to rent a HDB room or something like that. Now one HDB room, jicheng.
Yeah.
4
1,000.
digits already lah.
Yeah. Last time it's a lakpa, right? Yeah, before COVID, around there. Yeah.
Now it's 1,000. 1,000 is equal to 3,003. You can rent my whole, my whole, my whole landed property sometimes, Yeah. But it's really, so then they realized that they cannot stay in Singapore anymore, cannot rent. But this thing need to continue. So they started buying all the condominiums around the causeway. So Princess Cove and all sort of thing has broke $1 million in the kind of thing. Who ever believed condo in Malaysia can break $1 million, you know? But they are now breaking $1 million and basic looking size, you know, it's not like, you know, penthouse or something like that. So these three trends are happening, and I observe it from an experiential point of view. I don't know macro trends, but I see it right now, and certainly you will get more and more in a massive way happen there. Now it doesn't mean that we'll make money from it. You know, I don't intend to make money, as I said, you know, in Sing dollar terms. But this trend, I think, will likely continue in a faster pace in the next 1 to 2 years as the
RTS gets
as
up.
the RTS gets up, and RTS will get up by end of 2 years.
Hey coconuts, if you love the podcast, you need to check out the full episode on Orange Tea's channel. They're doing a lot of other interesting content like expert answers and Jalan Makan and more to come. So link in the description box below. Check out Orange Tea's channel.